The Soviet people called this river, the largest in Europe, Mother Volga. During the fighting for Stalingrad, the defenders of the city took an oath. There is no land for us beyond the Volga. Hello, I'm Burt Lancaster. Before the epic battle fought here, few Americans ever heard of the city of Stalingrad. But when the Nazis surrendered to the Soviet Army on January 31st, 1943, in the largest military action in history, Stalingrad became a source of inspiration to the Allies in their mutual struggle against Hitler. In the course of the Battle of the Volga, the Soviet armed forces destroyed 5 armies of Germans and their fascist allies, 1/4 of all the Wehrmacht forces on the Eastern Front. This victory strengthened the morale of the anti-Hitler coalition at a crucial time in the war. Our story, victory at Stalingrad.
By the late fall of 1942, it had become clear to the world that a decision at Stalingrad would have far-reaching consequences for both Russia and Germany. The Red Army soldiers under General Yeremenko had held their shrinking perimeter with extraordinary courage. On the other hand, the Nazis showed no signs of relaxing their pressure. The Army command post in Stalingrad had been encircled by flames more than once. The Nazis were only 300 yards away. A German lieutenant wrote, "Stalingrad is no longer a town. By day, it is an enormous cloud of burning, blinding smoke. It is a blast furnace lit by the reflection of the flame." In this inferno, the Soviet soldiers fought on, outnumbered. By the time November came, the Soviet troops in Stalingrad had been isolated for 2 months. It was a place that turned a novice into a veteran overnight.
Поговорим с тобой, не тратя время попусту, по-дружески да попросту. Поговорим с тобой, где елки рассыпаются, где елочки стоят, который год красавицы гуляют без ребят. Без нас, девчатам, кажется, что месяц сажей мажется и звезды не горят.
At the beginning of the winter, 1942, von Paulus's 6th Army at Stalingrad was stuck fast. It had gone well that summer for the Nazis. Less well in November. December to January was a time of reckoning. The defenders of Stalingrad had survived assault after massive assault by the Nazis. It was time for the counterstroke. As Supreme Commander, Stalin approved the plan. Conceived by Zhukov and Vasilevsky. In conjunction with Marshal of Artillery, Voyna. The Soviet High Command named it after the planet Uranus. General Vatutin was to command the Southwest Front. General Rokossovsky, the Don Front. General Yeremenko and his political advisor Nikita Khrushchev, the Stalingrad Front. In overall control were Zhukov and Vasilevsky. Zhukov had made his preparations without the Germans' knowledge. Ten armies, over 1 million soldiers, 1,500 tanks, 15,000 pieces of artillery from the Soviet reserves in Siberia, the Urals, and Kazakhstan. Everything had been concentrated without the Nazis' knowledge. The Nazi General Jodl said later, earlier there had been nothing there, but all of a sudden a heavy strike was delivered of decisive importance. It was an operation on a scale not seen before in the unknown war. It was a simple concept, a coordinated drive against the Romanian armies on von Paulus's flanks to pin his 6th Army against the Volga. The dawn of November 19th was damp and foggy over Stalingrad. At 6:30, the weary Soviets heard from their strong points in the rubble a distant thunder. Vatutin and Rokossovsky had opened their assault to the northwest. The Soviets crashed through the Romanians without pause, forcing a breach 50 miles wide. Rokossovsky and Vatutin began to swing to the south.